do you have a sense for how we can widen the community to include all of humanity?
Well, that is the answer. I mean, we protect family, but we don't see all of humanity as part of our family. And so we are all part of the family of mankind. We are all part of Homo sapiens. And we have to, and this begins in the earliest years of parenting. And that's why so much of my answer resides with parents and teachers and people who are dealing with youth. We need to, begin to kind of reestablish a sense of, community in the deepest recesses of everyone's mind, that just because you are coming from a different area of the world, you look different, you have different religious beliefs, you have, all kinds of differentiating characteristics. Those are to be celebrated. They are actually, they're part of you. They're part of all of us because we are part of this same species. And the only way that we can actually come together and have, this sense of a family of mankind is that we're going to have to change the way the brain has been wired. It was wired to be very, very conscious of any threat to survival of any kind based on look, appearances, and economic gain, territorial gain. And so it is, I love this work that was done around this notion. It's an African concept, Ubuntu, where this notion that we are all, I put a fair amount of the philosophy of Ubuntu in the book, and it's a beautiful connection to all of humanity. And that is what every child should be reading. That's what parents should be reading to their children. It's an understanding that we are all a little different and our differences should be celebrated, not used to divide us and to really become threats to our own families or to our own nation, tribe, or village. But it's a big pull, it's a hard pull, and it has to be done fairly quickly because so much is at stake.
Yeah. I want to share a quick story about being in Africa. I went to Morocco maybe 16 years ago, and I was there during Ramadan. And I was in this on a train going to Fez, I think. And there were 6 or 7 other people in the car with me. And we were chatting, and one of the people in the car was a little upset that I was talking to a woman. And he said, "In your country, is that do you do that?" And we say, "Yes. If it's a woman I don't know, we can talk to them." And he was like, "Oh," he was a little confused and maybe a little upset about that. But then we got past that, and just trying to understand my culture and my country. But alarms started going off. And immediately people started moving about the car. And it was the alarm signifying sundown so they could eat. And they got all this food out and they were passing it around. These were strangers. They were passing it around. And they insisted that I eat with them. And I said, no, I've been eating. I haven't been fasting, because it was Ramadan. And they said, no, you eat with us. And it was just this amazing thing. Like there was a little tension earlier, but they included me in their family. And it was just a wonderful experience.
Yeah, you can see just in that brief example how our own beliefs, we believe that everyone should follow those ways of thinking or they're somehow not part of us. And you kind of yielded your sense of, I should be fasting now. You had to kind of give some ground. They would not allow you not to give ground. And if you hadn't, you would have probably been perceived as being one of those outsiders who's a little bit suspect. And so that is how we're wired. And if we don't, that all got wired up when they were children. And if you don't go back and redo that, the brain is very malleable. And if you get the right messages loaded in the beginning, you're going to have the sense of respect for other people's traditions. You just love to hear about them. They're unique, they're different. But what you want to do is not do anything that would harm another person. And the golden rule, I think, is the most important rule of all, and that is treat others the way you would like to be treated. And if there was a guy by the name of Simon Baron-Cohen who wrote a book called The Science of Evil. And he's a very brilliant man. And he said that the answer to evilness, perpetuating something that is unthinkable, unspeakable to another, the antidote is empathy. The more you care about and understand what other people are going through, and you get inside their minds and bodies in some way, you feel what they're feeling, suddenly your aggression, your sense of wanting to hurt them, it's almost an amazing elixir for so many of the problems. Walk in the shoes of others, and suddenly you become transformed.
I want to close on your 20-week training regimen. And you say in the book that it's going to cultivate empathy and compassion. Can you talk about what the key elements of this program are?
So every day and every week, and there are examples in the book for parents, for teachers, for around the family dinner table or whatever. You have a theme, and the theme might be empathy, or it might be compassion. It might be just a sense of understanding what another person is going through in a particular situation. And we use the most really current science-based approach in neurological science to try to help anchor this. So we go through all the sensory portals that we can, the hearing, sight, tactile with moving your hand and writing, speaking. The more you can bring all of these really powerful assets to altering the way the brain works at a very early age, to actually signal to the brain, we need a different way of processing the world today. We need to see each other as part of a family, and we're going to treat everyone as family. What does family mean to you? How do you want to treat someone that really has been aggressive or a bully to you? Well, how would you like to be treated if that in fact happened to you? What would you like to have happened if that were? So the more you get people into that space of thinking about what other people are experiencing, and a sense that, hey, eliminate this notion of them and us. It is we. We are all part of this, and we have got to come together to cement a relationship with people clear across the globe and really celebrate our uniqueness, as opposed to making this something that is the basis for discrimination or inhumanity. So the book goes through 20 weeks, and you are literally to practice this with family members, and it gives examples of how parents could do this. And it's a big ask in the sense, can we change the world fast enough? I called it the world against aggression. So we're trying to find ways of solving problems without looking to aggression. Is there a way to work together as human beings on issues that we don't agree on? And I go through all the neurological science surrounding this, how we define morality in our lives, and how can we change this magnificent neural processing system between our ears that will prevent us from going off the edge to protect our species. And 20 weeks. I've piloted it with many different parents, with many different teachers, and they begin to see that something is happening. There is a change that starts to occur. Mark Brackett, in his program of Ruler, he has really shown how emotional changes can occur that are so healthy in kids if you start them young and you have a dedicated, fully designed program for them that teachers embody and, in fact, embrace. The chances for change in these young people's operating systems when it comes to emotional intelligence, feeling and caring for others, and control of this massive emotional brain that we have that has really ruled the animal kingdom and so much of humanity, that emotional brain has to be contained, particularly in the context of aggression, anger, hatred, negative emotion. There's a place for those, but it's not well understood, and we need to contain this as best we can.